The phone mic is right in front of you.
Thank you, Carol.
All right, thanks. Yeah. It's more the pre-meeting setting. It's like, oh, I know. Kids or something.
I know, right?
Okay, testing. Hello? Okay, we're gonna need to figure out how to mute. I think, what I'm gonna need is people on the phone are gonna have to mute when they're not, is that gonna be possible? When they're not talking, because we're hearing a lot of feedback. Thank you. Perfect. All right, we are calling the Tuesday, May 11th, 2021 regular hybrid West Hartford Town Council meeting to order. There's nothing really regular about that. Okay, first up, the council is called to order. The meeting is being conducted as a hybrid meeting pursuant to Governor Lamont's executive orders issued under the Public Health and Safety Emergencies. While most members of the council are present, as you can see, some members are participating by phone. Likewise, the public forum portion of the meeting, members of the public will have the option of participating by calling into a phone number that I will provide when we get to that part of the meeting. And we will start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, Ms. LeBreau.
Ms. Blanks,
Now you can unmute.
Ms. Blanks,
We can't hear you. Just make sure you're unmuted. Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Cantor,
Here.
Mr. Davidoff,
Here.
Ms. Fay,
Present.
Mr. Gold,
Present.
Ms. Kerrigan, Here. Mr. Sweeney,
Here.
Mr. Winograd, and Mr. Williams.
Here.
Thank you, Ms. LeBreau. I just want to quickly say that we really have reached a new phase in the pandemic, and we are 263 as of today. 263 COVID vaccines have been injected, and 79% of all of those delivered have been actually put into arms. That's pretty amazing, and I know you all heard of the 12 to 15-year-olds being authorized, and I will say that we have India in our thoughts as the worsening cases over there are on a significant rise, and we feel their pain and think about them very much. And with that, I will go right into the proclamations, and we will start with our Asian Pacific American Heritage Month proclamation. I don't think there's anyone actually here to receive this proclamation, but we will be sharing this on social media and with members of our community that have any interest in it. So, whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders is observed in every May, and this year's theme is Stop AAPI Hate, Solidarity, Community, and Celebration. And since the pandemic began, we want to particularly bring attention to and condemn the violence and hatred directed at the Asian and Pacific Islander communities, while also making space to create joy, healing, education, and celebrations for the richness of Asian and Pacific Islander cultures. Whereas Asian American and Pacific Islanders have a rich heritage thousands of years old and have shaped the history of the United States and had their lives dramatically influenced by moments in its history. There are more than 20 million Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders in the United States. Each day, through their actions, they make America more vibrant, more prosperous, and more secure. Whereas our nation is particularly grateful to the many Asian American and Pacific Islanders who have served and are currently serving in our armed forces, protecting the nation and promoting freedom and peace worldwide. Asian Pacific Americans made lasting contributions to America's wartime efforts, collected stories, highlighted their service from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Iraq. Whereas every May during Asian Pacific American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month and throughout the year, we invite our town to be in solidarity against racism, come together as a community, and celebrate the richness of the Asian American Pacific Islander communities. Now therefore be it proclaimed that on behalf of the Town Council of West Hartford and the residents of West Hartford, I, Mayor Sherry G. Cantor, do hereby proclaim the month of May National Asian Pacific Heritage Month, and this month we close this statement and an invitation to share our deep condolences with the families and communities impacted by systemic violence. We cannot and will not sit silent as injustices continue to anger, exhaust, and sadden marginalized communities. To stop AAPI hate only means to stop systemic racism. I call upon our residents to learn more about the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders. And and then we go to, it seems like a weird transition, but we do go to the proclamation establishing our Mayor's Youth Council. So I'm going to go up to the speaker here. So for COVID safety, normally I would have you standing here, you'll come up after, but, so this is exciting, proclamation, because it's the first time we've ever done this. So, whereas the town of West Hartford is committed to engaging and empowering West Hartford's youth through civic engagement and participation in local government, and whereas the town recognizes the value of public input from the town's youth, and whereas government service is a worthwhile endeavor and a valuable experience for the town's youth, and whereas in furtherance of efforts to engage the town's youth in government process, it is desirable to create an advisory board to be known as the Mayor's Youth Council, and whereas through civic engagement and the members of West Hartford's Mayor's Youth Council will put in place positive solutions, acquire new skills, develop a greater sense of confidence, and forge meaningful community connections, and whereas the creation of the West Hartford Mayor's Youth Council will serve the added purpose of preparing the next generation of community leaders. Now therefore be it proclaimed that Mayor Sherry G. Cantor establishes the West Hartford Mayor's Youth Council, and be it further proclaimed that the West Hartford Mayor's Youth Council shall advise and make appropriate recommendations to West Hartford government regarding issues of special interest to West Hartford's youth, and put in place solutions through active civic engagement, and be it further proclaimed that the West Hartford Mayor's Youth Council shall be comprised of 11 individuals who reside in West Hartford, attend public or private school or an equivalent homeschool located in West Hartford. And we have had an incredible partnership with the West Hartford Library, and we felt this was the appropriate home and stewardship of this youth council. And I want to thank Carol Waxman, acting director, and Carrie Karp for their leadership, creativity, and I want them to come up and tell you a little bit about and the time frame on the Mayor's Youth Council and how this will go. This will sort of be the inaugural year. We are sure that it's not going to be perfect, and we're probably going to have to make some adjustments, but this is a way to provide our young people with a true voice and a seat at the table, and we are so excited, and thank you so much for all you're doing. And I'm going to leave the proclamation here for you.
Thank you, Mayor Cantor. Good evening, Town Manager Hart, members of the Town Council. I'm Carol Waxman, Children and Teen Services Manager for the West Hartford Public Library. I'm here with our Teen Services Librarian, Carrie Karp. We are so excited to let you know about the Mayor's Youth Council. We have observed through conversation with many teens that there is an increased interest in politics, activism, and community service. In order to design a council that would be best for our West Hartford community, we have studied other municipal youth councils and believe that we have the best model for West Hartford. This past year, a strong core of virtual volunteers assisted the West Hartford Public Library's teen department by writing book reviews, providing social media content, and creating book lists for the library website. Additionally, the Teen Advisory Board, or TAB, met bi-weekly from October to May to plan library programs and make improvements in the teen room. TAB completed over 200 hours of service by painting wall murals in the children and teen areas, designing a West Hartford-themed virtual escape room, and building servers for teens to connect and attend library programs. The new Mayor's Youth Council will function similarly to the Teen Advisory Board, but rather than focusing on library-specific issues, they will broaden their outlook to address matters on a town-wide scale. After researching many groups across the country, Carrie and I have been inspired by the Mayor's Youth Council Boston and the First Selectmen's Youth Commission of Greenwich, whose teens complete impact projects, such as organizing art shows, hosting panels, and recording public service announcements. Mayor's Youth Council applicants will be encouraged to identify topics that are meaningful to them, and a number of these will be selected to become action projects for the year. Teens will act together as leaders to plan, facilitate, and assess their programs. In addition to developing their own projects, the Mayor's Youth Council will be available as a resource for town departments and organizations and can be called upon to assist with local initiatives as they arise. The West Hartford's Mayor's Youth Council will be an advisory board of 11 students in grades 9 through 12 from public, private, or equivalent homeschool. The teens involved will represent different schools, neighborhoods, backgrounds, experiences, perspectives, and interests so that diverse voices can be heard. Members will help to identify issues affecting youth and to propose solutions to West Hartford government through active civic engagement. Teens will be selected based on their interest in town governance and passion for social action. Youth Council members will be required to attend one-hour meetings from September through May and complete an additional 2 to 3 hours of service per month by participating in independent projects, events, and subcommittee work. And I will let Carrie Karp, our Teen Services Manager, tell you more.
So we will actively be looking for teens to participate in the board very soon. Information about applying for the Mayor's Youth Council will be shared with middle school principals for rising 8th graders, as well as high school principals for 9th to 12th grade students, in local press releases, on WHCI, and on the West Hartford Public Library website and in our newsletter. Candidates will undergo a selection process, which will include a written application, personal essay, letter of recommendation, and interview. Youth Council members will ultimately be chosen by the West Hartford Public Library teen librarian, as well as a member of the West Hartford Public School Administration and a town council member. Appointments will be for 1 year, and teens may reapply to serve for a second term. So we look forward to offering this opportunity to students in West Hartford, and we hope that members of the council who are interested will help us to select and interview teens for this new group.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You can take the proclamation. Thank you so much, and how exciting is this? This really is a new chapter, and we're really thrilled to have your leadership and your excitement. You've been so passionate about this and have done so much preparation. Mr. Phillips, you can stand here a little bit away, although we're all vaccinated, I think, but anyway, this is National Public Works Week, and I actually went to a panel that Mr. Phillips was a part of at University of St. Joseph, and they actually had it was a ballet, I think, of snowplows. Oh no, it was garbage. It was garbage. That's right, and it really showed Public Works from a different perspective. We in town government know how critical our Public Works staff and Mr. Phillips, all that he does to keep our town safe and to keep things running and to keep all of our residents functioning at an extremely high level. And we're so, so grateful. So thank you for Thank you for all that you do, and please share all of that with all of your staff. Whereas the 61st Annual National Public Works Week on May 16th to May 23rd, this year's theme is We Are Stronger Together. And whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, and the public health, a higher quality of life, and the well-being of the people of West Hartford. And whereas those infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals composed of engineers, managers, skilled employees at all levels who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our infrastructure, including its transportation network, stormwater, solid waste, parks, and recreational assets, public buildings, fleet maintenance, parking services, cemetery services, and other facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas public works staff have endured and adapted during COVID to meet the challenges and complete the essential work required every day to preserve the well-being of West Hartford, Public Works has been on the front lines, providing critical work every day, which we could have never imagined. Whereas it is in the interest of its citizens, civic leaders, and the children of West Hartford to gain knowledge of and to maintain ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of Public Works and its programs and deliverables to our community. And now, therefore, be it proclaimed that on behalf of the Town Council of West Hartford and the residents of West Hartford, I, Mayor Sherry G. Cantor, do hereby pledge to support our Public Works professionals, engineers, managers, and skilled employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make protecting, maintaining, and preserving our national and local health, safety, and quality of life. And thank you from the bottom of our hearts, Mr. Phillips, for all that you do. Do you want to say?
Mayor and Council, thank you very much, and I appreciate it. It's really on behalf of the 70 men and women that really do it every single day. This last year has been a special year for every department in town, whether it be emergency services, health services, or teachers, everybody. We've all contributed, but Public Works has also been there. We tend to work in the shadows. We're usually first to respond with everybody else, but we're always the last ones to leave, the cleanup, the putting everything back together again. It's been a long year, not just of COVID, and that's been in the news, obviously, in the top of our minds for everything, but we had a tropical storm in August, which we cleaned up this town in 3.5 weeks. We had a normal winter, and then we had our just normal construction season, and if you drive town recently, I don't think there's a street you can drive on that you don't see something that is related to a Public Works job. It may not be the men and women of West Hartford, but it is certainly a project from our engineering department, NDC, an Eversource project, or natural gas project. So all of that encompasses the work that we do as Public Works professionals, and I appreciate this proclamation on behalf of everybody. Thank you.
May really is marks a lot of things in our country, and I know it is also public safety. I think it's public safety. There's a public safety week. There's also I think it's paramedic week, and there is so much to honor and to. So we actually are going to put together some things and make sure that people are aware of them. And so much happens behind the scenes that we don't recognize every day, but really save our lives and make our community safe. So thank you both for all of that. This is really important, and every year when I read this proclamation, there's a new heaviness and a new weight to a new, I'd say, scale maybe of how important this is, and hopefully with each year, there's been also a recognition of how the recognition of mental health and prevention of substance abuse, how important it is to our country, and there's a recognition that this is like all health. Mental health is just part of all of who we are. Whereas the town of West Hartford celebrates National Prevention Week, with activities during the week of May 9th through May 15th to prevent substance abuse and promote mental health and wellness. And whereas May is National Mental Health Month, and this year's Awareness Month will promote a variety of ways to nourish mental health, including through social connection, leisure time, and therapeutic animal companionship. And whereas as our community and our country absorb the psychological and emotional toll of this global pandemic, and as we emerge from the resulting restrictions, we seek and support activities that promote community wellness, including programs organized by town entities, school groups, and community partners. And whereas National Prevention Week and National Mental Health Month are held each year during May because it is a key period of social transition near the start of summer, and also a time when adolescents and college students most often use substances for the first time, and therefore presents an opportunity for us to develop and strengthen the community, school, and family bonds that protect young people from substance abuse and to promote community mental health overall. And whereas the town of West Hartford, through the Department of Leisure Services and Social Services, the West Hartford Senior Centers, West Hartford Public Library, West Hartford Police Department, West Hartford Board of Education, West Hartford Community Interactive, and the Bridge Family Center as the town's Youth Services Bureau, along with individuals and the general public, will continue to collaborate on year-round prevention efforts. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on behalf of the Town Council of West Hartford and the residents of West Hartford, I, Mayor Sherry G. Cantor, do hereby proclaim May as West Hartford Mental Health Month and the week of May 9th through May 15th, 2021 as West Hartford Prevention Week, and support the efforts of our local government, community groups, and residents to increase public awareness about the importance of substance use prevention and positive mental health during Prevention Week, Mental Health Month, and all year. And I want to thank Helen Rubino-Turco, Director of Social and Leisure Services, for her leadership and commitment to this, and well before you became director, but the well-being and of the whole person has been your mission and your passion, and we're so grateful for all that you do. And here's your proclamation, honey.
Thank you, Mayor Cantor, and thank you, Town Council, for recognizing this important milestone in our annual year where, each month there are so many things to recognize, but we appreciate you taking the time to stop and think about this now. I want to just recognize a couple of our community partners who have worked to create some of the events that we're holding this month, including our friends at the West Hartford Public Library who are doing book clubs and lectures around mental health all month long. Our friends at the West Hartford Police Department who are here, who work all year to ensure that our community and all members of our community are met with respect. Also, our West Hartford Senior Centers, which this year, of course, during the pandemic, it's been hard for everybody, but I think a lot of our seniors, too, really missed their connections with their friends. And our senior centers have done a marvelous job with virtual programs as well as safe in-person programs. And they're offering some virtual and some in-person programs this month, specifically around mental health and about re-engaging. And of course, our Board of Education, the West Hartford Public Schools has been a great partner with us, the community of concern, the PTOs, and also the youth leaders in those, our two public high schools have played a major role. And West Hartford Community Interactive is this amazing gem in our community. They took some ideas and just ran with them, including right now, if you go on their website, an anti-vaping PSA contest. So this is a contest that's going on right now. There are prizes, but it's really about getting the youth involved in issues that are important to them. All of the programs that we are organizing, some of the programs that we're organizing this month have been funded by a grant from the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. It's called Amplify, and this was all organized by the West Hartford Prevention Council. I want to just recognize Chair Carl Shields, as well as our staff liaison, Jackie Zia Edgar, from Social Services, who coordinated many of the programs that we're doing this month. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vinaturco. We're really appreciative of everyone you mentioned and all the work that you do. Okay, public forum. Any resident or taxpayer of the town who wishes to address the council regarding any item on the agenda should call 408-418-9388. Again, that's 408-418-9388, and enter access code 132-237-5474. That's 132-237-5474. Callers will be placed in a queue. We will recognize the numbers as first for anyone here, if anyone's here in public, and then we'll go to the line. So, has anybody signed up to speak? No. Okay. Is there anybody that have called in? I'm not sure who we're checking with now, but is there anybody?
Madam Mayor,
yes.
Public.
Thank.
There are no public members on the line.
Thank you, Ms. Reinheimer. I appreciate that. Okay. Then we go to number 4, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Without objection, Madam Mayor, I move that we place items 5A, 5B, 6C, 6D, 6E, 6F, 8B, 8G, 8I, 8J, and 8K on the consent calendar.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the items will be placed on the consent calendar. Mr. Davidoff.
I move adoption of the items on the consent calendar.
All those, bless you, all those in favor, please signify your vote by saying yay.
Yay.
Yay. All those opposed say nay. The yeas have it, and the consent calendar is adopted. Thank you. Then we go right to Town Manager's report. Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Good to see you all here this evening. So I've loaded my report in board docs, which you can review in more detail when you have time. Let me hit the highlights if I can. First, under the category of council, business, and meetings, what we have planned over the next couple of weeks. This Thursday, the 12th, at 6:30 p.m., the council's Community Planning and Economic Development Committee will meet. The council will meet as a committee of the whole this coming Monday at 6:30 p.m. for the purpose of a budget workshop. And then we have tentatively scheduled a Finance and Administration Committee meeting next week, May 19th at 6 p.m. if needed. We'll see what progress we make on Monday. And then moving forward, on May 25th at 7 p.m., the Special Services District will meet to adopt its budget, and the full council will meet later that evening at 7:30 to consider its budget for next fiscal year. Moving on to staff reports, if I could. I know we've been talking for several meetings now about the American Rescue Plan and the funding that the town and the school district are expecting to receive under this watershed federal legislation. Today, as we had anticipated, the Federal Department of Treasury did issue the formal rules regarding the eligible uses of this money. Recall that we're expecting to receive approximately $25 million in funding for municipal government and approximately $10.3 million for the school district. Staff and I were reviewing the rules right now, and we'll have preliminary recommendations for the council to consider at its meeting next week. I've chatted with the mayor about this and recommend that we approach the allocation of these monies in at least 2 or more phases. For the first phase, I suggest that we focus on next year's budget and incorporate some of these monies into both the operating budget and the capital improvement program. As a subsequent phase or phases, the council could then take more time to decide how to best utilize the balance of the grant proceeds. The town needs to obligate, not spend, and this is new information. We need to obligate the balance of the funds by December 31st of 2024. I'm sorry, there's a typo there that I will correct. So we do have some time, and we'll be prepared to discuss these options in more detail next week. Moving on, under the category of community development, I'd like to thank our Department of Public Works, working closely with our Department of Community Development and others to deploy the barriers in Town Center and Blueback Square for outdoor dining. Again, we're going to have, they set this up along LaSalle Road, Farmington Avenue Memorial, and Isham Road. And our planning and division staff is leading the permit approval process. To date, we've received 26 applications for outdoor dining. We've approved 22 for 1,167 seats. So I think that's tremendous, and looking forward to that over the balance of this spring and into the fall. Moving on, staying within community development. Our transit-oriented development zoning initiative, our public outreach is underway. Council has seen this, but staff, working with the firm of SLR, we've developed a community survey to gather data regarding usage patterns and a number of other things. That survey went live in late April. It will stay open through late May, and we're really encouraging as much feedback and participation as possible. To date, we've received 700 responses, which is great. We've scheduled community workshops for mid and late May. We're going to conduct a workshop with the council at its community planning and economic development meeting this Thursday. So encourage all council members to attend that meeting this Thursday if you are available. Our paving, first round of paving is underway. We'll be moving on to road reconstruction relatively soon thereafter. I have listed the specific roads and details in my report here. I wanted to touch on the good work that the Health District continues to do. They continue in consultation or in collaboration with town staff to operate the COVID-19 vaccination clinic at the Prospect and Kane Street Plaza. They have administered a total of almost 12,500 Moderna vaccinations and almost 1,500 Johnson & Johnson doses to date. And that's a tremendous accomplishment, I believe. I've listed in here some of the key statistics regarding our vaccination numbers, which are high and growing every day. As the mayor said, children aged 12 to 15 are now eligible to receive the Pfizer vaccine. So the West Hartford Public Schools and our health district have stepped up to arrange for vaccination clinics at UConn Health for both public school and private school students in town for all children 12 years and older. And they can arrange for the vaccination by calling the UConn Clinic at 860-679-5589. Again, that's 860-679-5589 to schedule an appointment at the UConn Health Outpatient Pavilion. That completes my report for this evening, Mayor. I'm happy to take any quick questions that council members may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hart, but you did forget one very important thing that's in your report. There will be a movie, literal Hollywood movie, and I think in the article in the Current today, it said it was being filmed in Hartford. That's not solely true. It's also going to be filmed in West Hartford at 4 locations. This has actresses Sigourney Weaver, Elizabeth Banks, Kate Mara, and Rupert Friend, and it's award-winning producer Robbie Brenner on a true story of self-discovery, empowerment, and the eternal fight for women's rights. So it's supposed to be a really interesting project. Location crews will be filming on Tuxas Road, Spring Lane, Cherryfield Drive, and Farmington Avenue, May 13th through May 21st, which is, I think, pretty cool. But anyway, questions for Mr. Hart? I don't see anyone in their seats here, but yes, on the phone.
Madam Mayor?
Yes, Ms. Blanks.
I have a comment, if I may.
Sure.
At the top of Mr. Hart's report, Mr. Hart, under council business and meetings, I believe that there's a typo where it states May 12th, 6:30, the Community Planning and Economic Development Committee meeting. Is that supposed to be the May 13th?
It is, Counselor Blanks. Thank you for noting that.
Thank you very much, Ms. Blanks.
You're welcome.
Keeping us all in line. Okay. All right. Anything else? All right. Very good. Thank you, Mr. Hart. Mr. Dodge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. As you're all aware, this is our second hybrid meeting. I'm very pleased that it's going a little bit more smoothly than the last time. I think going analog on the phones was made the process a lot easier. We are working on a process to provide a hybrid option for some of our other boards and commissions so that they can start coming in person again soon. The House of Representatives, or the General Assembly today, inserted a bill that would extend the governor, or authorize the governor to extend his emergency powers through July. And so I do anticipate that we will probably continue operating under many of the executive orders, at least until the beginning of summer. And so we'll look forward to seeing which of his executive orders are extended. We do require an executive session this evening to discuss an attorney-client privileged legal memorandum. And for the members of the press and the public who are here tonight, I do not anticipate that we will be taking any action after the executive session. I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Dodge. Are there questions for Corporation Counsel? I see no questions at the table. On the phone, are there any questions? Okay, very good. So now to number 8, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Without objection, I move that we receive and set for public hearing an ordinance establishing a procedure for the honorary and historic renaming of public streets on June 8th, 2021 at 7 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Davidoff. Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, the motion is adopted. And letter C, Mr. Davidoff.
I move adoption of a resolution amending the fiscal year 2020-2021 budget of the Community Development Block Grant Fund to allocate funds for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act.
Thank you, Mr. Davidoff. Mr. Hart, would you like to give us a quick summary on this?
Thank you, Mayor. With your indulgence, I'd like to ask our Director of Leisure and Social Services, Ms. Rubino Turco, to come forward and briefly address the council.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Welcome, Mr. Rubino Turco, again to the mic.
Thank you, Mayor Cantor. The town of West Hartford receives an annual Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development every year. Obviously, this past year was a little different. In 2020, the town was notified of an additional grant allocated to the town through the CARES Act for public services to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the to coronavirus. It's called CDBG-CV, and if you can say that 5 times fast, you can run it. This additional allocation for fiscal year comes to $963,044. So this is a large grant from HUD specific to coronavirus. It's one of many grants I think that the town has received. After conducting outreach, evaluating the needs of our community, researching the extensive eligibility requirements, we identified some worthy projects which are itemized in the resolution. And the key here is that we could not fund any projects if there was duplication of benefits. So, for example, much as we wanted to set up a fund for eviction mitigation or relief for people who are having difficulty paying their rent, the state has a robust program called Unite CT, and our residents should go to that first. So we couldn't run programs that are concurrent. We identified some really great specific programs under 2 categories. So these CARES Act funding must be used, as I said, to prepare, prevent, and respond to COVID-19. And they have to also meet a HUD national objective. In West Hartford, the two national objectives that are possible here are urgent need and programs that assist low and moderate income people or areas, so LMI or LMA. For urgent need, the funds have to be used by early July of this year. So there was like a time frame, I think it was 18 months it had to be used by. So we ballparked that at early May, or early July, so that we wouldn't run afoul of any deadline. Urgent need covers the vaccination line that's being run by part-time staff and full-time staff at the library and the social services and the senior center. So we have some key different people in those three departments that have been answering those phone calls. Typically, the first phone call is answered by the library, then they're sent to the senior center, and then if they need help, they'll refer to the Bloomfield Health District or to social services. So that was a wonderful program. I think we were cutting edge on that, creating an information line just related to vaccines. The second is the ARCH program, and this is for equipment purchases and the West Hartford Bloomfield Health staff only. So other departments are paid for through other grants, and we couldn't double dip. And then the other program that meets the urgent need are the vaccinations for anyone in our community that the Bloomfield Health District was conducting, if they kept correct timesheets and dotted all their I's and crossed all their T's. The second category, as I mentioned, is projects that are for low and moderate income people or neighborhoods. And there the time frame is a little bit longer. They must be used by June 30th, 2023. These LMI projects include vaccinations in and for LMI areas and for increased operations at the food pantry. So we were very careful for looking at all of these different rules and eligibility requirements. We do have some additional funds that are unallocated at this time. We anticipate that we may need to do another round of vaccinations, so we want to make sure that we have sufficient funding. That would not be for urgent needs, so it would only be for vaccinations in our low and moderate income neighborhoods. And we're really fortunate to have great partner with the West Hartford Bloomfield Health District and with Bob McHugh, our former assistant police chief, who has really been working with us to work out some specific vaccination programs in our impacted neighborhoods. That is the reason why we need to, HUD requires us to receive these funds and allocate them. This wasn't adopted in our budget last year for the current year, so we need to acknowledge that these funds have come to us in a formal way, and that's what we're doing this evening. And then we're going to allocate them when we have other additional programs to take care of our unallocated funds. We'll come back to you and let you know what those are.
Thank you so much. I just want to make sure if there's any questions for you before you walk away. Any questions regarding CDBG and the carryover? On the phone, any questions? Okay, I think we're all set. Thank you very, very much. This has been quite the year. When you look at all, looking back, thanks so much. All right, letter D, Mr. Davidoff. Oh, we do have to vote on that. Sorry about that. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. All those opposed? Aye, no. Okay, there's no opposition. Motion passes. Now we go to D, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move adoption of a supplemental resolution appropriating an additional $20,000 to the Office of the Town Clerk to support increased expenses due to the coronavirus pandemic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Davidoff. I don't know whether to go to our town clerk. Go to Mr. Hart. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we are respectfully requesting council approval of this resolution. Why are we requesting this from you this evening? The clerk's office has experienced a 40% increase, 3,000 to date, in terms of land recordings since July 1st of last year. And that's an increase compared to the previous year. So this has led to an increase in a variety of line items. We do have the funds available for this in what's called the Mortgage Electronic Registration System, or MERS, Documents Town Clerk Account. So that is separate from the general fund, and we do have these funds available for this purpose. As you see here in the cover memo, that account presently has a balance of a little under $57,000. So again, we're respectfully requesting your support so that we can continue to have the part-time staff hours we need to process these land records in a timely way. And every time we process one of those, additional revenue comes to the town. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Are there any questions on this item? I'm seeing no's at the table. Any questions from the phone? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Letter E, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move adoption of a resolution amending the fiscal year 2020-2021 budgets of the Community Development Block Grant Fund and the Capital Projects Fund.
Thank you, Mr. Davidoff. Mr. Hart.
Thank you, Mayor. I would again ask Ms. Rubino-Turco to come to the podium and briefly speak to this item.
Thank you, Mr. Hart. Welcome back.
Thank you, Mayor Cantor. As you might remember, the town of West Hartford receives funding annually from the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development in the form of Community Development Block Grants, CDBG. And these are used to make improvements to public facilities and infrastructure to benefit the quality of life for low to moderate income residents and neighborhoods. Every year, around January, February, the town invites the public, including businesses and local nonprofit organizations that serve low and moderate income residents, to submit eligible projects for CDBG funding. We then incorporate those projects that might be eligible and fundable into our annual action plan. We send that action plan to HUD for its review every May. We're getting ready to do ours for next year right now. And then once they approve it, we review it with the town manager, and it is included in the CDBG budget. So it's part of the budget process, if you will. Last year, Futures Incorporated was granted a subrecipient from the town of West Hartford's CDBG. So they were one of the nonprofits that applied to us for a grant. They become a subrecipient. We enter into a contract with them, and they for their eligible project. So in case you don't know, Futures is a nonprofit that serves people with developmental disabilities. They submitted, they own a building on South Quaker Lane. They submitted a lead abatement project and a handicapped lift installation project to improve their property and enhance their programs at 902 South Quaker Lane. As I said, we have a contract between the town and Futures to memorialize them as a CDBG subrecipient of the town's grant. Futures contributed a little over $43,000 towards this project, and the town is allocating about almost $115,000 of CDBG grants for these two projects. And for what we're doing now is just accepting that as an identified project. It was done last year, but the funds were carried forward because they needed to get their ducks in a row. They needed to write the specs for their two projects. We needed to put it out to bid, and now it's been awarded and they're ready to go. And so that's why we're here this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pino-Turco. Are there questions? Any questions?
Yes, I have a question, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Blanks. Go ahead. You're up.
Ms. Rubino Turco.
I don't think that I heard you clearly. What does the project entail? What are they going to be doing?
Thank you, Ms. Blank.
There are two projects that they're undertaking. One is a lead abatement project for window replacements. And the second is to install a handicapped lift because some of their patrons are handicapped.
Ms. Blank says, did you hear that clearly?
Yes, I did.
Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. All right, anything further?
All right, thank you very much. And that is such an incredible resource, and it's wonderful to hear about that.
I just wanted to mention the fine work of Luan Sika in our department. He has recently been taken over as the coordinator for the Community Development Block Grant. He also runs our housing rehab program, and he's been a wonderful addition to our staff in housing rehab, but he recently took over the administration of our project as well, and he's doing wonderful work, not only with the applications that come in, but also all of the entering all of our applications and paperwork to HUD. So he's just been a wonderful asset. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Binaturco. And there is also much detail and work that goes into that, and please share our appreciation as well. Thank you. All right, all those in favor? Say aye. All those opposed? Say nay. Okay, motion carries. F, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Without objection, I move that we receive and refer to Town Planning and Zoning a resolution authorizing the town manager to execute a quit claim deeds regarding rights of way across 49 Brainerd Road and 48 Sequin Road.
Is there any objection? Hearing no objection, the motion is adopted. Now letter H, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move adoption of a resolution appointing members to the Civilian Police Review Board.
Thank you, Mr. Davidoff. Ms. Blanks, would you like to start off with this? To talk, or why don't I start and then I will go to you?
And then
Is
I
that
will go to
okay?
you. Is that okay?
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, thank you. The council, I'm really thrilled to be able to do this tonight. When the council, actually, this was started by our police chief and our town manager, recognizing that our civilian review board needed some adjustment in membership, but also so they actually started to do some research.
Assistant Chief Tara actually, when he came on board, really led that. We ended up waiting a little bit, pausing to understand what was happening with the police accountability bill for the state of Connecticut. Once that passed, we had a little more clarity on not that it really impacted how we viewed our civilian police review board, but we just wanted to make sure we weren't jumping ahead and then would have to change what we did. We worked very closely with the Corporation Council on working the Public Safety Committee, which I'm sure Ms. Blanks chairs can talk to. Has developed a number of criteria. The ordinance was passed, and then we reached out and did some. We did some significant outreach, and we received an enormous number of interested parties. Actually, more. We even received a couple of interested parties that didn't live in West Hartford. So I thought that was interesting. But it was really inspiring to see the interest, the passion, the support of our community, our police, and really the real trust and the faith that this board would bring to the whole process of police accountability. And I can't tell you, there is no one that is more supportive of police accountability than our police chief, Vernon Riddick. So, and his team as well. So, Assistant Chief Tara. So, we are thrilled to be able to bring to this board a really qualified, diverse group of residents that are I spoke to each one of them individually. Carol and I reviewed Ms. Blanks and I reviewed in depth, as Mr. Gold also reviewed applicants. We were so impressed with the applicants we received, and more impressed with the group that we chose for the skills they bring, their different perspectives, the diversity throughout town, age, backgrounds, everything. So we know that you will be, I think you will all, I know they're going to really enjoy working with each other. There will be incredible, I think, camaraderie on the board. And respect for each other, respect for the law, respect for the police, respect for the civilians that they are answering to, and the residents. So, Ms. Blanks, I will kick it over to you for a few comments, and then Mr. Gold can also.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. And I would just echo quite a bit of your statements. But what I am most pleased about is how the number of our residents who really stepped up once this was announced. There was so much interest. Many people wanted to know when and how to apply, how to go about it, what it all entailed. And I think in the final analysis and the outcome in terms of the members that were selected, truly complement and represent our town from all sides, from the north to the south, to the east, and to the west, in terms of their background and experience, the education that they'll bring, and also just being able to work collaboratively and to be working with our town leaders, especially the chief, the assistant chief, and our town manager. So I think that we can all be quite pleased and confident in terms of what this board will bring to the table, and how I believe that they will be thoughtful in terms of listening and can really work together and be a true representative of what this particular board is all about in terms of their role, truly being a citizens police review board and being able to provide the information to the chief in terms of what the criteria and the duties which will be expected. And of course, I can't say enough about Assistant Police Chief Tara, because I remember a year ago when this huge undertaking was getting going. And I remember when he presented at the Public Safety Committee meeting, and he was talking about the accountability bill and how lengthy it was, and in terms of some of the things that he would have to do and how he would reach out to other departments, not only in our state, but just across the country in terms of what we really wanted our town's accountability, our board to look like. So I think after all that hard work that we really come out with a good group of people. And I'm really excited for everybody to, get going and to get started. So I think we as a town and as a council and professional staff that we can be proud of the members that have been selected. And I'll leave it there, Mayor.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gold has something to say too. I just will add that there will be significant training that is going to be taking place with this board, so they will all be prepared. Many of them have no experience, and that was not a barrier in any way. So, Mr. Gold.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Firstly, I do want to thank specifically Chief Riddick and Assistant Chief Tara for helping to spearhead this and getting this, the beginning, and getting the research and doing everything done. We truly appreciate it. Truly thank you. Also, to echo what Mayor and Carol had mentioned, we are so very fortunate that to have so many qualified individuals that stepped forward to volunteer their time, in such a significant way to serve on the Civilian Review Board will help to provide a unique perspective to governmental and police affairs. I know that those selected will serve with only the town's best interests in mind in an honest, transparent, and non-political way. And I truly look forward to seeing how this board develops, interacts, and helps our town entirely. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gold. And I'm just going to read, they are staggered terms. The expectation is they will, if they are happy and we're happy, they will be renewed. So I just want to just read their names on the staggered terms. Again, there was just Veronica Badiola and Robin Killer are hereby appointed to serve until December 31st, 2021. Adrian Billings Smith and Alberto Cortez are hereby appointed to serve until December 31st, 2022. And Bjorn Burke and Nabin Chetri and Olinda Morales are hereby appointed to serve until December 31st, 2023. Matthew Horowitz is hereby appointed to serve as an alternate until December 31st, 2021. Kathleen Costello-Hinman is hereby appointed to serve as an alternate until December 31st, 2022. And Gabriella Downey is hereby appointed to serve as an alternate until December 31st, 2023. All right. So we would need to vote on this, but before we'll vote on that, and then I have just one more comment. So all those, I think we have to, do we have to do roll call? No. No. All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Aye.
No. Okay, let me do it one more time. All those in favor? Aye. Carol?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? I went a little too quick. Okay, great. Thank you. All those opposed? Nay. All right. Thank you again. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Assistant Chief. Thank you, Ms. Blanks. Thank you, Mr. Gold. And thank you to all of you. And especially thank you to the residents. So many wonderfully qualified, amazing residents that raised their hand to serve. We are really a blessed community, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And with those thank yous, I would also like to acknowledge two outgoing civilian members of the Citizen Complaint Review Board, Dr. Kirk Peters and Attorney Deborah Rose. Dr. Peters has served on the board for approximately 10 years and Attorney Rose for 7 years. They have reviewed a variety of matters, including allegations of excessive force and improper arrest. Dr. Peters and Attorney Rose have been very dedicated and have given much to our community. They and other Citizen Complaint Review Board members have paved the way for the formation of this new Civilian Police Review Board. Dr. Peters and Attorney Rose, thank you so much for your service to the community. So, thank you, and congratulations to our new Police Civilian Review Board. Civilian Police Review Board. Okay. All right. And now we go to announcements, and I'm completely out of my screen. 1 second. Again, I want to announce that there is a Hollywood movie being made in West Hartford. I'm a little starstruck. Okay. Sigourney Weaver was all of that when I was younger. So anyway, Asian American Experience, May 14th and May 21st. I'm glad you're still here from Carol and Carrie. The West Hartford Public Library is hosting 2 virtual panel discussions in May to celebrate our Asian American community members and elevate their voice, their stories. Co-hosted by the West Hartford Parent Community Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion Groups, WHEDI, Know Our Story. The Asian American Experience in West Hartford will be moderated by Yukio Aida, founding member of WHEDI and Partnership Specialist at Equity Connecticut. Join us for a youth panel on Friday, May 14th, and an adult panel on Friday, May 21st, 7 to 8:30 via Zoom. And you can register. It's a very long line, so I'm not going to say that, but please go to our website, or I'm sure the library has it on their website, or call them. So they will tell you exactly where to go. MLK Junior Community Paint Day will take place on Saturday, May 22nd, 9:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Be a part of history and paint a portion of the Martin Luther King Jr. mural on the library wall at 20 South Main Street. West Hartford's mural is part of CT Mural Rise Up Project MLK 39. Racial Equity Mural Tour, in which 39 murals will be created in 39 towns, one for each of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s life. Through Sustainable Connecticut's patronicity, $12,585 was raised and $7,500 was matched for this community project. Professional artist and Conard High School graduate Corey Payne, and he is nationally renowned, has taken elements suggested by a community collaboration team to create this one-of-a-kind mural. Community activities on Saturday, May 22nd include helping Corey to paint the MLK mural, sidewalk painting, and canvas painting, where you can bring home your own piece of art. If you are interested in volunteering, please pre-register by emailing ctmurals@gerinafulwood. That's gerinafulwood.com. We will unveil the mural on Saturday, June 19th, during the town's Juneteenth celebration in partnership with the Concerned Parents of Color, Wasco, Noah Webster Library, West Hartford Arts Commission, and the town. Art Barriers, West Hartford Art League, in conjunction with the West Hartford Arts Commission and the town of West Hartford, has raised $7,345 to transform our concrete dining barriers into works of art. Thanks to 113 community donors, they were able to exceed their goal of $5,500. Sustainable CT is matching with another $5,500. The Art League has commissioned professional artists to create designs for the barriers, and the public is invited to walk the closed streets and watch the artists in action. There will also be chalk drawing in the streets from 10 a.m. to noon on Sunday, May 23rd. Chalk is being provided by Jerry's Artorama of West Hartford. Rain date is May 30th. A big thank you to Public Works for their preparing the 34 concrete barriers with primer and white paint. And I think Mr. Phillips left, but they have done an amazing job. So again, thank you. Are there any other announcements? Anybody on the phone, an announcement? All right. Seeing no further announcements, Mr. Davidoff.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Without objection, I move we enter into executive session pursuant to Section 1-206E regarding discussion of an attorney-client privilege and confidential legal memorandum dated May 31st, 2020.
Is there any objection? There being no objection, we will enter into executive session. I would like to invite the town manager, corporation counsel, deputy corporation counsel, police chief, and attorney Katie Rule to join us, after which we will adjourn. Mr. Dodge.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For Councilor Kerrigan and Blanks who are on the phone, you should have received a separate WebEx invite for the executive session. That's how you'll participate. The council will be moving up to room 400. I would ask you, please make sure that you log out of and fully leave this WebEx meeting before logging into that so that the executive session remains confidential. Thank you.
Okay, and should we just hang up this line? We don't need them for quorum to